Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Sharon Bown, and joining us this evening from the Royal Australian Navy is Commander Penelope Twemlow. We warmly welcome the family of Captain Benjamin Hooper, whose story will be told shortly, and we acknowledge the family members who are watching today's ceremony online. We are pleased to welcome the Defence Widows Group to the ceremony this evening. The group is a subgroup of the ACT branch of the Defence Force Welfare Association. It was established in 1981. Its focus is on providing mutual support and friendship through an established network for approximately 300 defence widows residing in the ACT. It is an inclusive group, the only criterion for membership being that a partner donned a military uniform in the service of their country. We are honoured to acknowledge Mr. John King, President, Returned and Services League of Australia, ACT branch. We welcome the veterans who have served, those who are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is birth by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every state advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, and launch Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. Fighting of 1916. This national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Captain Benjamin Hooper. Benjamin Hooper was born on the 16th of July 1916, the second eldest of 7 children born to James and Margaret Hooper. Benjamin's parents were shopkeepers in Isisford, a small town in Western Queensland. They later moved to Jambin and Alpha, where they continued to manage shops. Ben, as he was known, attended primary school in Isisford and Emerald before going to boarding school at Charters Towers and completing his secondary education at Nudgee College in Brisbane. Dux of Nudgee College and captain of the school, he was awarded an open scholarship to Queensland University, where he graduated in medicine, going on to be a resident doctor at the Brisbane General Hospital. Hooper had joined the militia in 1936, but in 1939 was discharged as he was working in a protected occupation. He rejoined in December 1941 and in April 1942 was called up for full-time duty. As part of the Australian Army Medical Corps, he was posted to the 11th Field Ambulance with the rank of captain. The unit undertook intensive training in central and then northern Queensland, and in March 1942 was placed under command of the 29th Brigade. In August 1942, the unit embarked for Milne Bay in support of the 7th Brigade. On the 25th of August, a Japanese force attacked Milne Bay, believing that the airfields were defended by only 2 or 3 companies. The Allies, forewarned by intelligence, had greatly reinforced the garrison. Heavy fighting followed, and Allied air superiority helped tip the balance. Finding themselves seriously outnumbered, lacking supplies, and suffering heavy casualties, the Japanese withdrew in early September. Due to the conditions on the island, evacuation from the field by ambulance to the casualty clearing station was almost impossible, and the field ambulance overflowed with casualties. Ben wrote to his family about the conditions in New Guinea: heavy rain, deep mud, and the inability to rest or even change clothes. He treated some soldiers from his hometown for malaria and later commented in a letter, "There is no doubt about the Australian lad. He may be hard to handle, but in a pinch, scratch him and you find true gold beneath." Malaria was rife and many were invalided back to Australia. Hooper contracted malaria in September and was returned to Australia in October, where he enlisted in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force. He continued to serve in Australian camp hospitals in Queensland throughout much of 1943. In early 1944, Hooper had a recurrent bout of malaria and attended hospital as a patient rather than a practitioner. After recuperating, he was detached for duty with the 7th Battalion in February and March of 1944. Around this time, applications were invited for young doctors to become parachutists, and Hooper applied. He was allocated for duty with Z Special Unit in late May, and towards the end of the year attended a parachute course, qualifying in January of 1945. Z Special Unit was a joint Allied Special Forces unit formed during the Second World War to operate behind Japanese lines in Southeast Asia. Although predominantly consisting of Australians, the Specialist Reconnaissance and Sabotage Unit also included British, Dutch, New Zealand, Timorese and Indonesian members. The unit carried out more than 80 covert operations in the Pacific, inserted by parachute or submarine to provide intelligence and conduct guerrilla warfare. Sworn to secrecy, Z Special Unit operatives were not allowed to tell anyone of their experiences until 1980. As one veteran later recalled, Z was a different operation to anything else. You were never told where you were going or what you were going to do. You weren't allowed to talk about it, and you weren't allowed to know what you were training for. We didn't know where we were going until the day we got on the plane, in case any of us got caught. You could have been tortured and you could have divulged information. We didn't have it. While the unit was disbanded after the war, many of the techniques and procedures used by Z's Special Unit were taken up during the formation of the new Australian Army Special Forces units. Given Hooper's successful training as a parachutist, it seems likely that he was training to operate behind enemy lines, gathering intelligence and training, and arming local peoples. He would not have the chance. On the 9th of March 1945, Benjamin Hooper was declared missing, believed to have accidentally drowned. He was 28 years old. Today, he is commemorated at the Perth War Cemetery. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among more than 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Captain Benjamin Hooper, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.